Hello and welcome to Threefold Herbal Healing. I'm herbalist Lioside. I help people who struggle with chronic conditions grow their health from the roots up. Today I wanted to speak about plantain. It's an herb that almost everybody know. It's found in your backyard, most likely, but not everybody know how many gifts plantain can share with you. And I wanted to start with a story about plantain from my own experience. So until 2 years ago, I used to own a farm and I used to host garden walks where I explained to people about the herbs that I grew in my garden and what they can do with them, how they can grow them, how they can use them. People really love those garden walks. But I used to start with weeds because people had this expectation of me sharing more about exotic plants, and they were very surprised when I started with plantain because it's everywhere and it's free. And most of us are not aware how much gifts plantain can share with us. So people were always like, oh, wow. And they felt like they learned a lot because it is so accessible. So maybe you stop the video and go for a moment outside into your garden and see if you can find plantain and pick it up, put it in your mouth and chew on it. See what you will discover. Then come back and watch the rest of the video. Are you back already? Plantain. Plantain got its name from its botanical name, plantago, which means the soles of the foot. It's referred to the flat leaves of plantain that looks like the sole of a foot. I heard it say that it actually means white man foot, and that is in association, kind of people saying that plantain followed white men wherever they went. So maybe plantain was brought to North America by white men. But I also heard that North America had its own strains of plantain. So not sure which story is the true. It's considered a second degree medicine, so it's something that you usually wouldn't eat a plate full of, but you can add it as a spice to your food. Although, as we will see in a moment, it was used as food. You don't need to grow plantain because it is everywhere in every garden. But you do want to make sure that the plantain you are using for medicine is not sprayed and your dog and cat didn't relieve themselves on it. It's pretty yucky if they did. A little bit about history. Plantain grows in Europe and Asia for centuries now, and it was used both as medicine and food and for spells. So at the time, centuries ago, traveling was really risky. It was an adventure that was, people didn't take it lightly because there were a lot of robbers and wild animals and places between villages and cities were no man's land. But some people had to travel. For some people, it was a necessity. So they saw plantain leaf into their belt, both as their food, as medicine, but also as a protective spells against toxins and the wild. And so there are poems reading about plantain and its protective qualities. Plantain is associated with Venus. Venus is a planet with many feminine qualities, art, harmony, love. Um, the psychological function of Venus is relationship, love, attraction, pulling people into your sphere, drawing people towards you. Plantain has this drawing power. It gravitates substances toward it. It is a diuretic with an affinity to the kidney, and the kidney too has an affinity to Venus. And it has those smooth leaves with parallel veins that have a cooling, moistening qualities that are Venus. On the other hand, plantain treats conditions associated with Mars. So if you take Venus as a cooling, harmony, very feminine qualities, and you take Mars, masculine, heat, war, inflammation, kind of plantain can cool down, balance that heat of Mars in the body. So balancing Mars. It is associated with the water element because it works on the mucous membrane. The leaves themselves are very juicy. Like I said, if you went out and picked plantain leaves and chewed on it, you would have noticed that it's really create a lot of mucus, a lot of juice in the mouth that is cooling, moistening. It's really soothe hot, irritated tissue. The alchemical principle. So when we talk about alchemical principle, we are talking about the triad of sal, sulfur, and mercury. Sal is condensing, mineralizing, grounding, pulling down. Sulfur is dissipating, diffusive, kind of into the atmosphere. It's like pulling up. And mercury is the principle that breathes between them. Plantain relate to sal principle because of the high mineral content. It is drawing, condensing, astringent that pull together substances and tissue. The taste is mild bitter, which suggests liver association. There is some astringency, but there is also sweet mucilage, anabolic. Now, this combination of astringent, bringing tone into the body, and mucilant is very unique to plantain. Not a lot of plants have it. Energetically, it's cooling, and it could be drying because it's toning, but it's mostly moistening because of the mucilage. The molscent increase secretion in the mucous membrane. It's used for hot, inflamed, irritated, dry, cracked, and bleeding tissue. That is where it's really shine. It cools down the heat, moisten the tissue, and the astringency can stop bleeding when there is bleeding. So we are talking for tissue that is hot, inflamed, irritated, dry, cracked, or bleeding. Yeah. So let's see where and how it can help us. The first thing when I think about plantain, and the most common use of plantain is wound healing. It is a topical remedy. You use it as a first aid kit. It's used this way because it is good vulnerary, which means wound healing. It is an astringent, it's anti-inflammatory, it's antiseptic, and it's demulcent, and it will draw out toxins. So you want to use plantain for cuts, scrapes, burns, laceration, puncture wounds, bites, and stings. You can use it locally for bites from poisonous snake and spider. It will draw the toxin and prevent them from spreading to the entire system. Now, how to use plantain? You can use it as a liniment. So you make a very concentrated, strong tea, soak a piece of cotton in it, and wrap it around the wound. You can use it as poultice, which I just explained. You chew on it and then put the pulp directly on the afflicted area. I used it like that if I had a fight with a bee or a wasp in the garden and I got stung, which was very painful. I'm very sensitive. Plantain, reduce heat, reduce pain, make it all better. Or you can use plantain powder mixed with medicinal clay and lay that over an afflicted area, and that will cool it down and draw the toxins out. That was wound healing. Urinary tract. And before we continue, I just want to say this is an educational video. We are going to talk about some serious conditions. You don't want to take care of yourself if you're not trained to get to take care of yourself. If you're in serious condition, if you have any of the condition I'm going to talk about, I am offering options. But those options means that you go to a medical doctor, you go to an herbalist, you go to somebody who is trained before you do your care plan. Don't take care of yourself in conditions that you don't fully understand. So plantain is a very effective diuretic, antiseptic, anti-inflammatory, astringent, and emulsant, a combination that work well for flushing the urinary tract in cases of UTI with a pattern of heat and irritation. So how does it feel in your body? You want to pee all the time. You want to urinate all the time, and you feel like you never fully emptied yourself. You may have a sting or a burn when you pee. You might have urgency, and you might have cloudy or even a little bit blood in your urine. You can't miss it because UTI is painful. When UTI is associated with cloudy, bloody urine, you want to use plantain with yarrow and shepherd pears because they are astringent and they will stop the bleeding. In cases of urinary tract irritation, such as interstitial cysts or kidney stones, plantain can be used with other urinary tract demulcents, such as corn silk or couch grass. In the presence of UTI infection, you can use it with echinacea and urva ursi. Okay, plantain for the lungs. Plantain can be used for dry cough. Herbalist Matthew Woods gives a specific indication. It feels like a splinter is stuck in your throat or chest, causing sharp pain that triggers the cough reflex. As a cooling demulcent with antiseptic and anti-inflammatory action, plantain affects the mucous membrane of the lungs in cases of infections. It is especially beneficial for lingering infections where the drawing properties of plantain and its expectorant action can help remove sticky old mucus that is stuck to the tissue. Remember, plantain is also a demulcent, so the mucous membranes are going to produce more fluid, and that fluid will make the sticky mucus less sticky and easier to cough out. As a cooling sodium expectorant, plantain will benefit people with a hot, dry, irritated cough. Use with herbs such as mullein, pleurisy, or clotsfoot. Okay, the place that I really use plantain the most in my clinic is for the digestive tract. Plantain can be used for leaky gut syndrome. Herbalist Paul Bergner called the digestive tract from the mouth to the colon our inner skin. And that is because the epithelial membrane are very similar to that of the skin, both in structure and function. Basically, what is in the digestive tract is considered to be outside of the body. Compounds are considered to be part of the body only when they cross the single cell barrier of the epithelium and are absorbed into the blood. It makes sense that the topical remedies that used to heal the skins are also used to heal the gut lining. When gut permeability is compromised, leaky gut, undigested food, pathogen, toxins can leak into the bloodstream and cause inflammation. The symptoms can be eczema, autoimmune conditions, migraines, brain fog, depression, fatigue, diarrhea, constipation, fibromyalgia. It's a whole body issue. Plantain is vulnerary, so wound healing, it will retain the integrity to the gut lining. It will repair, will restore integrity, and it's an emulsant. So when you have this loss of integrity, you have inflammation. When you have inflammation, you have heat, you have irritation, and plantain will form this mucilage layer that is protective, that is cooling to the tissue. And it's also reduce the pain. So now that the gut surface area is very large, and it's very large with all those fingers that are called villi, because we want to have a large surface of absorption of the nutrient. But it's very hard for tinctures to spread all over this entire surface. Most herbs that are made into tincture are absorbed either in the mucous membranes in the mouth or in the stomach. They don't really get a chance to reach the intestinal tract. The best way to prepare plantain for gut is either as an infusion, so in tea, or as a herbal powder. So you want it to get into the small intestines and to be able to spread all over the place in order to heal all those layers of the gut that we have there. So herbal tea or herbal powder. It can benefit other digestive imbalances too, including ulcers in the stomach, colitis, hemorrhoids, gut infection, gut inflammation, diverculitis. So plantain, even for stomach flu, is awesome. And not just in the gut itself, but also in the mouth. Teeth and gum. Ulcers in the mouth, many times caused by acid reflux, excessive heat and acidity coming up from the stomach, canker sores, receding gums, tooth infection. You can chew on plantain and just stick it to the part of the mouth that have this infection. It even have this slightly numbing effect, so it can help reduce pain too. You can use a strong tea as a mouth wash, or really chew on it and stick it somewhere in the mouth. In cases of leaky gut and gut inflammation, the best way is to use plantain with calendula, chamomile, licorice, and marshmallow. Now the liver, because plantain, like I said, it's bitter. It has a slightly bitter taste, which point to the liver, and it contains ocubin. It's a type of glycoside that shows to protect the liver against oxidative damage, and it's anti-inflammatory and even laxative. So when we are talking about oxidative damage, we are talking about what happened when you have high level of toxicity or high level of inflammation that produce toxins in the body, and the liver can't, it's overwhelmed. It can't balance this oxidation that is happened, and there is more and more inflammation. Studies suggest that a daily plantain supplements can improve serum ALT and AST anti-triglyceride in patients with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is a disease that is common among people with obesity, insulin resistance, and diabetes. It is basically a liver disease that create inflammation and oxidative stress in the liver, and the marker it's increased liver enzyme ALT and AST, and increases lipids in the blood. That's a triglyceride. And plantain were shown to actually counteract those markers. So it helps the liver deal with all this oxidative stress and inflammation that is associated with eating excessive caloric intake, insulin resistance, and diabetes. In an animal study that examined the effect of soluble and insoluble fiber from plantain, they use plantain leaf flowers, and they use rats. Excuse me. Rats with diabetes. It was found that plantain reduced liver fat in non-alcoholic fatty liver disease and alleviated renal inflammation and improved insulin resistance. Again, I wouldn't use plantain without a trained professional and say, okay, I treated myself. You need a professional support. Okay, let's talk a little bit about safety. Generally, it's a safe plant to add to your repertoire and use as a tip. But as with all plants, you want to start with small amounts and adjust the dosage as you go. You want to know what you're doing. You want to be cautious with plantain in cold, damp condition, especially in the lung and the UTI tract. It doesn't have a lot of interaction with other herbs, but there is a caution if you use it with warfarin. Um, People that it's a blood thinner. People use it after heart attacks or stroke. So just know that. But generally, it's a safe herb in a tea. You know, again, I wouldn't. You can use plantain as a tea even daily, and you are going to be fine. But if you struggle with a chronic condition, I invite you to connect. My website is www.threefoldherbalhealing.com. I would love to hear from you. I do offer 15 minutes free consultation. I invite you to make use of it. Let's talk. www.threefoldherbalhealing.com. I hope you benefited from this conversation. Let me know what you thought about it. See you next week.